Gordhan says for the transformation of state-owned entities to take place, they must be subjected to ethical governance and not the malfeasance that has largely been associated with state institutions. He also warned the country about the need to be vigilant against elites who want to fill their pockets at the expense of the benefit of the majority of the people. He warned that state capture is not yet over.
It also seems that there are people amongst us, and perhaps outside as well, who actually don't want these SOEs to find themselves on the right track again, because they would like to explore the possibility of state capture version 2.
Gordhan says academics must do more in order to ensure that the current dominant economic ideology of capitalism is analyzed thoroughly in order to be able to address its shortcomings that perpetuate social and economic injustice.
But today there's a poverty of analysis. And if there is the analysis, there's a poverty in communicating that analysis as to how this system called capitalism is not ensuring inclusive growth. It is not ensuring that there's developments in continents like the African continent, and that there's equity between different nations in the globe.
On the issue of Eskom, Gordhan says government's decision to build power stations was delayed because it was decided that private sector should build power stations.
One of the most challenging decisions made at the time in the early 2000s was that there's no need for Eskom to build any more power stations, that the private sector would come in and build power stations. I think it took a few more years after that, in the early 2000s, to realize the private sector wouldn't come in. The tariffs were not of the order at the time in order for them to make a profit out of building power stations and supplying electricity. And so the state at the last minute had to say to Eskom, build power stations.
Velem Senimtiane, SABC News, Johannesburg.